right, good evening, everybody. I want to call to order for the Committee of a Whole meeting of the Board of Education, October 7th, 2025 at 6:30 p.m. in the boardroom of the Administration Building at 70 Conover Road, Colts Neck, New Jersey. If I could have a roll call, Mr. Marasco.
Yes, you may. Mrs. Camera.
Here.
Mrs. Horowitz.
Here.
Mr. Arrico.
Here.
Mrs. Ramirez. She is participating remotely. Thank you, Mr. Rignetta.
Here.
Mr. Scales.
Here.
Mr. Scarpa.
Here.
Mrs. Volpe.
Here.
Mr. Walsh. Here. Thank you. You have a quorum.
Great, thank you. Pursuant to the Open Public Meetings Act, Chapter 231, this meeting has been duly advertised in the Asbury Park Press in a schedule of meetings dated January 16, 2025, and March 4th, 2025, notice of which has been filed with the Deputy Clerk for Colts Neck Township, and the requirements of posting of notices have been met. If we could now rise for the flag salute. I pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All right, let's get started. Would anybody like to volunteer to read our mission statement?
I'll read it.
All right, Mr. Scarpa.
All right. The mission of Colts Neck Township Schools is to empower and inspire students to be confident, creative, self-sufficient learners who maximize their strengths and talents and contribute as responsible participants in their ever-expanding world.
Great, thank you, Mr. Scarpa. All right, moving on tonight, I'd like to take note of the one information item there, if everybody could briefly take a look at that. Okay, moving right into comments from the public. If anybody would like to get up tonight to make a comment, you could do so now. Please state your name and address for the record.
Sorry, gotcha. I'm an old person that's technically challenged. Alan Ryan, 24 Ann Street, Colts Neck. I had the pleasure today with four of my brother firefighters to go over to the Conover Road Primary School, and the kindergartners and the preschool were there, and we had a great time. The questions out of them, the looks on the faces, it was well worth it. And I want to personally thank Tyler Badaracco from Colts Neck number 1, and Tommy Orgo Jr., who visited an old teacher, which I'm not even going to say who that is or whatever, and Brian Lakefield and Nick Sakudis. And it was really a great time. And the kids, parents, you should be proud or whatever. These kids are really nice kids and just really a great day, a really good day. And on the 9/11 ceremony, I wasn't there for the last meeting, but what a tremendous job over there at Cedar Drive. And I really appreciate the fact that this board has taken the course of never forgetting and always remembering. And I thank you. And I think that's a great job by you guys, and I think you guys are doing a good job. So God bless you, and you don't realize how important it is or whatever until you start hearing things and all that. And this is probably the most important job next to being a mom or dad, because you're rearing these kids to go forward. So God bless, and hope everything turns out the way it should. Thank you very much for your time.
Thank you, Mr. Ryan. Anybody else like to get up? All righty, we're going to move right into we're going to close public comment at this time. We are going to move into our action items this evening. I'm going to need a motion to move actions items 1 through 7. 1 through 7. If everybody wants to take a look at that, if I could get a motion to move those. Anybody have any questions or comments on any of that? All right, I'll take a roll call at this time.
Action items 1 through 7. Mrs. Cammer?
Yes.
Mrs. Horowitz?
Yes.
Mr. Ulrico?
Yes.
Mrs. Ramirez?
Yes.
Thank you. Mr. Rignetta?
Yes.
Mr. Scales?
Yes.
Mr. Scarpa?
Yes.
Mrs. Volpe?
Yes.
Mr. Walsh?
Yes.
Thank you. Motion passed unanimously.
Great. Thank you, Mr. Marasco. Okay, moving on. We have a few communications listed there. I'd like to take note of one of them this evening. First, I want to thank Mr. Scales for leading us on this initiative to contact the White House along with our local and state government officials on the fact that we do not support males participating in female sports. So under Mr. Scales' direction, we had asked Dr. Garibay to put out our position to our president, and they responded. So we recently received this letter from President Trump, and I'd like to give you the honor if you could read that for the public. I'll do this. Sorry to put you on the spot.
That's all good. All good. So from the White House, September 22nd, 2025, they said Ms., but Dr. Mary Jane Garibay. I'll correct the president if he doesn't mind. Colts Neck, New Jersey. Dear Dr. Garibay, thank you for taking the time to share your views on women's athletics. For years, the previous administration and progressive movement actively advanced policies that allowed men to compete in women's sports, undermining fairness, safety, and opportunity for female athletes. That injustice against women and girls ended the moment I took office, I being the President of the United States. One of my first actions as president was signing an executive order to ensure that only biological females can compete in women's sports. My administration is fully enforcing Title IX as it was originally written to protect equal opportunity for women and girls. Any school, college, or athletic association that fails to comply will lose access to federal funding. In July, I also proudly signed an executive order to ensure that colleges preserve and, where possible, expand scholarship and roster opportunities for student athletes in all sports, including in Olympic and non-revenue programs, so that college athletics remain a uniquely American institution. Under my leadership, women can once again compete in fair and safe sports, earn scholarships based on merit, break records without fear of erasure, and pursue excellence with the confidence that their achievements will be honored and protected. I will continue to defend the integrity of women's sports, restore common sense to our government and public square, and protect opportunities for women and girls to achieve the American dream. Thank you again for writing. May God bless you, and may he continue to bless the United States of America. Sincerely, Donald Trump. Pretty cool.
Thank you, Mr. Scales. Once again, I want to thank all the board members. We were basically unanimous in our support for this, so I want to thank each and every one of you for supporting our young ladies here in this district, and we will continue to do so as long as we're on this board, so thank you. Okay, moving on, we are going to start with the board liaison reports. I'd like to start with Mrs. Horowitz, if she can do her Parent Advisory Committee report at this time.
Yes, thank you. So Dr. Garibay sent out the invitations earlier this week, or was it last week? Last week, it was close. Meetings will be held Mondays at 10 a.m. and 7 p.m. starting on the 27th. As noted in her email, the format will be slightly different moving forward, with each session focusing on a specific topic. Our first session, we haven't decided yet on the topic, but
Great, thank you, Mrs. Horowitz. If you want to just roll right into the PTO.
their Spirit Wear store remains open until tomorrow. So walk and talk is being held on Friday, October 17th at 9:30. And their trunk or treat event will take place October 25th from 1 to 3. They're still looking for people to volunteer to decorate their trunks, so if you're interested, please reach out to them. That's it.
Great, thank you very much, Mrs. Horowitz. Moving on to the Colts Neck Township Schools newsletter, Mrs. Camera.
Okay, on September 26th, the Back to School / Summer Bridge newsletter was emailed to the school community and distributed at the senior meeting. The feedback from families and staff has been overwhelmingly positive, with many appreciating the highlights, the student features, and the helpful information it provided. Just for all the residents, the newsletters are posted on the Board of Education website. They're also posted on the school's Facebook page. We also posted on X, on Twitter? Yes. Okay, great. I also was interested in knowing if we can bring maybe some printed editions to the PTO meetings. And I am planning on displaying some copies at the public library, the municipal buildings, just to get it out to more of our residents. And I did notice that the Township Committee on their webpage has a link to the school as well. So I figured I would reach out to them too to see if they can post it as well.
We also send it out email, so PTO members and the people, so anyone who's a parent with a registered email should also receive the communication about it too.
Oh, great.
So if that, that's another piece of dissemination.
Absolutely, that's great to know. So just overall, I think I'm speaking for the board, but I'll just say I. Thrilled that the newsletter has just been so well received, and I look forward to continuing it. So.
Great, just to let you know, it has been well received, Phyllis, thank you very much. And you can speak for the board on that. Okay, moving on to the Colts Neck Township School Arts, Sports, and Extracurricular Activities, Mr. Regnetta.
Thank you. The Colts Neck Sports Foundation is accepting new Board of Directors nominations. If you'd like to be join the nominations, you can send an email to info@coltsnecksportsfoundation.com by November 18th. Please include a brief bio and a statement of intent. The elections will be held on November 19th at the Colts Neck Library from 8 p.m. to 9 p.m. And everyone who's involved in the Colts Neck Sports Foundation, if you have a child in sports, you're allowed to vote in that. So go ahead if you're willing to do that. Please do so. The Mother and Son Dance is at capacity, so they're no longer taking. You can no longer buy tickets to that. So if you bought tickets, you're in luck. If you didn't, you're out of luck. Sorry. But they are still accepting sponsors. So if you'd like to be a sponsor of the event, please email cnsfmotherson@gmail.com. And that'll be it. Thank you.
Great, thank you, Mr. Regnetta. Moving into the Colts Neck Township Committee, Mr. Scarpa and Mrs. Camera.
Just to start, the next meeting is actually tomorrow, October 8th. The last meeting started with Mayor Buss issuing a township proclamation called Knockout Opioid Abuse Day, designated October 6th. It was to promote awareness, reduce stigma around addiction, and to encourage prevention strategies. So again, the day is intended to raise public awareness about the risks of prescription opioid misuse, the connection to illegal drugs such as fentanyl, and strategies to prevent addiction. I'm having trouble speaking tonight. The Historical Committee will be hosting an event at our schools where Betsy Ross will be visiting. Do we want to share a little bit more about that?
I don't have the date in front of me.
Oh,
but
okay.
It's been something that they do. They bring a living classroom, it's living history,
I think
and they'll bring in someone from the Historical Society. Well,
Yeah.
I'm the one who's doing this tonight, so no, I myself do not play Betsy Ross. So it's been a long-standing thing that we've done where we have like a living history that comes in, and then they do an assembly and in character and talks about it for the first person, and it's a really nice experience for the students.
Absolutely.
Historic, yeah.
I was happy to hear about it through the committee. The Colts Neck Police just recently had Coffee with a Cop on Wednesday, October 1st. And the mission of Coffee with a Cop is to break down the barriers between police officers and the citizens they serve by removing agendas and allowing opportunities to ask questions, voice concerns, and get to know the officers in your neighborhood. So, I will keep everyone aware when the next one is. I thought this was very exciting. The township received a $200,000 recreation grant to enhance local facilities. So I encourage parents and all residents, but parents especially, to reach out to the township with ideas and feedback, maybe regarding the sports facilities we have in town. There's a lot of discussion about the lighting improvements at 5 Points. So let the committee know how you would like the money spent. And last, this kind of piggybacks off what Sarah was saying with Trunk or Treat. In addition to Trunk or Treat, again, the Historical Preservation Committee, also on October 25th, is having haunted hay rides at Colts Neck Firehouse 1. So that's everything.
Mr. Scarpa, would you like to add anything? No? Okay, all right. Okay, moving on to the Colts Neck Township Planning Board subcommittees, Mr. Scale and Mr. Walsh.
We'll do, I'll do a lengthy update during our section here coming up, but I can announce that there were 2 meetings. The Town Planning Board had prepped members of the school board on 9/23 prior to the presentation to constituents on 9/24. So during our CLW here, I will report out that report in length. So.
Okay, not too lengthy.
Yes.
All right. Moving on to the Colts Neck Township Senior Citizens, Mr. Walsh.
Nothing really reported since the last meeting. I do want to thank the president attending the senior citizen meeting. Mr. Al Ryan, you were present. Our president had the invitation of their president to speak about our highlights of our district, our successes. I mean, you want to maybe add on 1 or 2?
Yes, I would like to add to that. First off, I want to thank Mr. Chabelle for the invitation. I was so well received there, and I think I spoke a little bit too long, but I just wanted to let the board know that I wanted to highlight each and every one of you and what your position is on the board and all the work you do in your specific committees. So it took time for me to go through each of you and what you all do. I wanted to highlight our zero tax increase this year to the senior community, along with all the wonderful things, basically putting the 9/11 program in place, also the Holocaust program we did today at Cedar Drive Middle School, along with Mrs. Cameron's newsletter. I distributed quite a few, thanks to Dr. Garibay for having those ready for me. So those went out. I also actually did a shout out to Mr. Ryan for all the dedication and time he spends supporting our board and what we do here, along with Mr. John Arrico, he was there. And also, I had a lady named, I got to just look really quick, Mrs. Mary Kopko. I don't know her personally, but she came up to me during the meeting and said her husband had passed away, and she wanted to donate some music books or some type of music memorabilia or something like that. I don't know exactly what. I spoke to Dr. Garibay, and we're going to kindly receive that. She was supposed to come today. Oh, she did come. Oh, great. Well, I just want to give a shout out to Mary. If you could relay that to your seniors club. We certainly appreciate her thoughts, remembering our kids to donate something like that, and we really do appreciate it. So if you could extend that to her. I don't think she watches our meetings, but I did also speak to the old principal from the elementary school, Mrs. Anderson. She was a delight to speak to. I got so many positive feedback from people that approached me on what we're doing here. So I just want to thank all of you for a great job, and it was great to highlight you at the seniors meeting. And thank you, Mr. Walsh, for setting that up for me.
Well, Alan, I just conveyed to the seniors that we extend an invitation to our events in the schools, the plays and musicals and all, and everything would obviously go through the superintendent's office.
And you guys are smart doing this order because the seniors are big voters, and anything that you can tell them and relay to them as far as the budgets or anything like that is very important. So
Well, once again, I wanted...
a good group there because these are people that are going to go out and they're going to vote. It's that simple. And they're watching.
Yeah, well, if you recall, I did mention a few things at the meeting. I certainly am happy that we do have a lot of support from our seniors. I did mention that the zero tax increase was just from the K through 8 district, that our high school and our township committee did not fare so well in their goals there. And I did ask for maybe people to volunteer to vote to run for our high school Board of Education. They're in desperate need of financial help over there. So if you could relay that. But I certainly wasn't there to make an election pitch. I just wanted to make sure that everybody was on the same page of all our fantastic achievements. So thank you for welcoming me. I appreciate it.
I think it's smart that you did that.
Yeah.
And also Mary Kopko, just, John Kopko, the husband,
Yeah.
was a first aider in town, a life member.
Oh,
And
okay.
he was also a teacher.
Oh, wow, I did not know that.
Too.
She didn't even mention
Just a
that,
little
so,
history,
thank you.
but, I mean,
Yeah, she was absolutely a delight to speak with, very kind-hearted, so just reiterate our thanks to her. Okay, moving on to Naval Weapons Station Earl, Mr. Scarpa, and Mrs. Ramirez.
Yeah, so later this month, members of the board will be visiting the Earl. We are excited about this, and this is for several reasons. One, we're trying to lay the groundwork for a future field trip to the base, and this will be a great opportunity for the board to physically see it and appreciate what we can do on that field trip. Number two is to greater appreciate the lives there, and then bring it back into the school district and continue that story. Just because they're here for a period of time doesn't mean they don't have a permanent presence in our schools. So we are making this trip over to the base. I am personally very excited about that, to appreciate more about the base, its history, but to bring it back to the schools as well. So we want to continue that relationship, and I believe we're wrapped up now on the applications to go. So we're all set to go within 2 weeks. So excited about that. Thank you.
I just have a question. I submitted mine much later than you did. Did I get clearance yet for that, or? Oh, Mrs. Jones, I'm not sure if I could ask you directly. I'm sorry. Okay.
So it does take a process when you know that the government
Oh, that's right.
Oh, okay.
Oh, no.
a little bit longer.
Okay.
It will be processed.
Okay.
You were thinking that.
All right, great. Like I said, no rush. If I don't meet the cutoff, I just, it was my fault that I submitted it so late, but, okay. Great, thank you. I'm looking forward to the touring with you guys too, and Mrs. Ramirez as well. Mrs. Ramirez, would you like to add to that? No? Okay, all right.
I have a question.
Yep.
Brian had mentioned a while ago about some kind of memorial for our naval students, for our military students, so we can remember them, like a plaque. Have we moved forward with that? Is there any more
Yes.
developments with that?
So
Is it for
Dr. Garibay and I,
Garibay?
we're speaking
Okay.
about this the other
I think
day.
we're still talking about it from an administrative point of view, like where is it appropriate? Because some students, based on their time of service here, are only in one school. So do you want it in one school? Do we want it? So we're looking at opportunities maybe to embrace the concept of Purple Up, where it's something that's also able and not burdensome. That was something that we also talked about sometimes. we may want something a little bit, in our vision, we want it to be intentional and purposeful. So even if it's as simple as, a wall that's maybe a purple with like a handprint or something that someone can put their names in, or something that is meaningful and serves the purpose that we want, which is if it's about remembrance and them being here, we want it to be intentional. So that's where we're still kind of playing around with ideas with our facilities manager, what we feel is going to be a good fit for us, and location-wise too, where we want it to be and meaningful for the kids, because if it's in their spot, having students there too. So it's still a work in process, still on the part of the conversation.
Right, it might be something we want, if we're doing a wall, maybe we want that wall in all 3 schools. For that.
But that's exactly what we're thinking about, something that would be like able to do. Yeah, something that would be able to transcend the,
Right, great.
yeah.
Yeah, it'll have a consistent theme throughout all 3 schools.
Yeah, great.
Okay, moving right into my state and county school boards report. There's not much, but tonight was the first New Jersey School Board meeting. Unfortunately, I'm here, so I wasn't able to attend. It's going on right now at the Renaissance in Ocean Township. That meeting was including the AI in the K through 12 districts, and it basically is how school districts are implementing and leveraging the technology for learning. There is a virtual option that started 15 minutes ago. I'm not sure if that'll still be going on when we leave, but if anybody wants to try to catch the end of that. The statewide training for 2023, the annual school law forum will be October 23rd. That will be $299. Registration is still open for that. And tomorrow, October 8th, there is a webinar. It's called Candidates Briefing, and this is designed to educate individuals running for local school boards. It helps candidates understand the responsibilities and legal requirements of board membership. So if anybody wants to catch that, that will be tomorrow. And if you guys want to check your emails, I believe everybody's up to date with their mandatory training, but in our emails, we had all the dates for the mandated training for governance 2, 3, and 4. So if anybody's interested, you could do so. That concludes my state and county school boards report. We are now going to move right into the committee of the whole work session. We're going to start with the ad hoc on affordable housing. Rob said he's got a short report tonight.
Nice and short.
If you want to start.
Yeah. So as I mentioned, the Township Committee wanted to give us a briefing before they had presented to the town because it was essentially it's some good news for the school board as far as the future. So everything I'm going to mention pertains to round 4 of the affordable housing. So as you will recall, round 4, we have a 10-year window to meet these obligations. So I'll just read some of the notes that I had. So round 4, it granted us an extension of affordability controls on the current units that we have. So we can maintain units based on negotiations with owners of the current properties. And so what they're talking about is the owners that have the properties over in the Grand in Colts Neck. So right now there's controls over 66 owner-operated units and 22 rental units. 14 of the rental units at the Grand have negotiated to remain affordable housing. So we will maintain now 21 credits from those 14 rental units. 8 units will migrate to market rate after year 1. So essentially what's happening is we're remaining control over 14 units. So towards round 4, that gives us now some of the units get subtracted from our obligation. So 21 total credits, that will keep 115 units out of town because of that ×5 rule. So what that means is because we're getting credit for those units, it's not going to be like another Levana Square, right? Where Levana, whereas you build 1 unit for affordable, they get the right to build another 5 regular units, right? So what we're doing is we're removing 115 from that complete total. It's a lump sum of $470,000 from the town to buy down these units over time. These funds came from a 2009 bond ordinance from the town. In order to do this, everyone loves a good negotiation. We had to extend what's called a pilot program now to the owner of those properties in the grant. So what that would typically mean is reduced revenue for entities like ourselves, because the pilot program grants an extension and grants sort of just different controls over tax revenue. In layman's terms, they don't have to pay full tax. So out of that pilot program, there's going to be an increase. What we would typically see, what we have seen in the past, is $12,000 from those units. It's going to increase because of property values and things like that, of $15,000 be the tax revenue that comes from those units. It's not a lot of money, but what the town has agreed to do is give all 15,000 of those dollars to us. So typically it would have been 12,000. We're going to get a $3,000 increase. So we're going to get all 15,000 per year from that. So this is separate from Levana Square. All right. So the second part of this conversation was we had some questions around, well, we've seen the siding go up, we've seen the roofing go on, the gutters, all that. When is Levana going to be opened, right? So Levana Square, again, the 330 units. So little bit of a different tune. So we had a win with the affordability controls, but this is not necessarily as successful. So residential placements are going to begin January 2026. That's earlier than I had originally anticipated. I'm told it's behind schedule. I've looked at my notes, and I believe it is ahead of schedule. The way it's going to be staggered placement. There's going to be some units that will be open. About 3 of those units will be open by then, and then the remaining units would be staggered for the remainder of the year. So what does that essentially mean for us as the school? Taxes, as you know, are only assessed once a year. So right now, that entire property, you've seen 15 units being built on that, that property owner is still only paying $40,000 a year in taxes, even though everything's is being built. They won't assess those properties until October of 2026, right? So what that means essentially is we're only going to get tax revenue on those open properties so far that they've opened, and it's going to be prorated until October 2026. The bad news is that the rest of those units will then be open, and more of the people will move in for the remainder of that 2026 and then calendar year 2027. There won't be another assessment on the taxes until October of 2027. So us as a board will not realize full tax revenue from Levana Square until October 2027. So all the work that we've done, we knew this, right? This is probably something that we probably always had as sort of a dark cloud over us, is there might be a shortfall as far as tax revenue is concerned. There will be a shortfall. So what we'll need to do essentially is just monitor how many children and how many residents apply to come to the school. This way we know, because I'll divert everyone back to, again, we have it on our website. It's called the Colts Board of Education Housing Impact. It's a link on our website. That'll show you what we think the revenue will be. Now, we, meaning Rob Scales, does not have a license, does not have an education on tax revenue. I am simply using these ratios, and I'm using equations that we would typically use and that are available public, right? It's available to the public to see what do we think Levana Square would pay in taxes. So if we follow the rules, right now the current Colts Neck tax property rate is 1.49%. So if we follow that rule, and you'll see this has been available for about 6 to 7 months now. The estimated future tax revenue is $2.6 million. The estimated tax revenue for us as a district, we are expecting $1.6 million. And I say we're expecting because that is the equations that are used on other properties, other commercial properties, other residential properties of Colts Neck. So I expect the town to respond and the county to respond by November 2027 and have that exact tax rate and have that amount of revenue. So we're going to be at a shortfall for revenue. So we have to be very diligent. And now essentially everything that we've talked about up until this point, I guess we can now say we are live. We are now live. We need to monitor the situation, because if children come in, Mrs. Kammer, you had mentioned, right, you've had a couple of new students enter your class, right, because Manalapan is facing that. There is a disruption that is involved with new students being staggered as they come in. So obviously you'll know you'll be ahead of that. We have to be diligent of that as well. Make sure there's no disruption to the education of our children as well. So that's all I've got. If you have any questions, I'm here open for that. Right in.
I don't know if at this point the board wants to revisit the conversation we had said about the demographic study of getting it updated. I know back then we had talked about it, what a cost could be, looking at other companies. If we wanted to do that, we were waiting until June until the resolutions were passed, and we knew what round 4 was going to look at. So I guess we present that to the board at this time.
I think we shouldn't wait for the township. I think we should be ahead of them on this demographic study.
Okay.
We've been waiting for them to pay or give some word to us as a board that they're going to be performing this. Nothing.
We haven't heard anything
So
about that,
I
right?
think it'd be smart as a board to have a study done.
To
And then we
update our
had the
study.
Sundance, we had I guess there was a fee associated with that.
Yep.
Yes, yeah.
$11,000, I believe.
Yep, absolutely. That's exactly what it was.
As board chair for the building and grounds, I strongly recommend to the board that we have a study done.
Yep.
Mr. Walsh, we discussed the study, and I agree, we should have a study, but we should keep in mind the scope of the study. The one that they had presented was well in arrears, like 2.5 years by numbers in arrears. So even if they come back with a number, it wouldn't be relevant to today. So before we sign on it, let's make sure it's very close to real date as possible, because otherwise it's non-actionable information.
Sure, and I think when we went back and forth through communication, they recognized that there was more solid information that was now available to them than when we first did that. So I think everything would be brought up to date
They'll scope it
based on,
over.
correct, exactly. Okay, so then we'll move forward with communicating that to Sundance and move forward.
Does a vote need to be formally taken on that, Doc, or?
I want a quote first before, I just want to know what it's going to cost us.
Sure, I think we have that in the, I'll go back to it and share it again. Yep, yep.
As Dr. Garabay mentioned, there are other vendors that provide the service. There are other licensed demographers, so
Can we get like a couple of estimates, if it's not too much?
Sure. Sure, we
Like
can
maybe
say-
3, do 3, and then we'll maybe go with the average and the recommendations on.
Yeah, and then we can get a total, and then we could go to the town and present, this is what we, and if they want to go halvesies,
Okay,
Yep.
we could propose that. I think that's fair.
I think we should, because so the other part of it, the last part, is that, again, Levana stuff is set in stone. But if this demographic study is going to be accurate, what's happening now is when the round 4 resolution that we passed, that we presented, we're now being sued by 4 developers. So what happens in the state of New Jersey is they have the right to sue us.
Builder's
So-
remedy.
Correct, right? So now the builders are going to go through the motions and keep suing us and suing us. The town's going to fight it, and again, it's all just political theater, things of that nature. But something could happen where if we lose one of those and something comes in, there could be another Levana in town. So I think it's smart, like you said, get ahead of the town. Let's get it and then present it and say, let's just say if it's only 11,000, we'll present that and see if they'll split it with us, and then we'll go from there. Because it's not only, it's an infrastructure issue, clearly. Regardless if let's just say if it's a different population that starts to take over the units and rent the units, and they don't actually participate in our schools, I think there still is a transportation element of that as well, right? So we would still have to figure out, again, if they're not going to be students in our schools, but students elsewhere, or students in a different group in town, we still need to be aware of what that impact would be to our transportation. So I think it's within our best interest. Like I said, we're live, so now foot's on the gas, so.
Will the
All right, so-
demographic study cover that? Like, transportation's a big piece.
Yeah.
Will the demographic study cover the impact of this facility and the potential transportation factors? Because 360, talking about at least 3 or 4 new buses, if you have max volume, whether in our schools or outside of our schools. So how does that work?
Sure, they'll focus in on the number of students, and then we make estimates, and we, based on the premise that every student is granted a seat, if you look at those things, and if they're school age, we're making assumptions that they're school age, and all of those things that go into the demographic study part of it, then, currently we don't have bus routes that go there, so we would have to analyze that, and that would be something that we would have to deal with as they start to phase
Yeah.
in and looking at and how that's reworked, correct?
Okay.
Yeah.
But it will be captured in the demographic study.
We would capture it from the information based upon it. So they give us the number of kids. They won't actually do bus routing or that type of thing, but we would make anticipated guesses based on what they are perceiving
Okay.
for that.
Okay,
Yeah.
thank you.
You're welcome.
Rob, correct me if I'm wrong. Each building is going to be separately C of O'd, correct? I'm pretty sure that's
don't
what
know.
I.
That's above my pay grade.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure when I spoke with the zoning officer at Colts Township, that is what the plan was going to be. If that is the case, the first building that's C of O'd and that's completely filled, we would know about it, obviously, and then we can get a gauge of how many kids with that one building come into the school from that one building.
And then times 13.
And then we can times it by 13 or 14.
Or 15.
15, it's 15. So if we get 8 kids in one building and we multiply that by 15, right? Now we've got 120 children. And I think that would be I think that would be a better gauge than possibly doing a study. And it's not like if we have 15 kids come into the school system in a matter of a month, that's not going to overwhelm us, or we're not going to have to build another school or anything like that. But then we can get a future proposal. And if it's going to start in January and end sometime in the spring of 2027, which I think is what's going to happen, then we will have a very accurate prorated study of our own for the next 15, 16 months after January.
Cool.
So it just, I want to clarify. So you're saying wait till January for the one building to fill up, gauge how many students are there instead of doing the Sundance study. But then, is that what you mean? Is
Yeah.
that what you
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, I mean, we're only a few months away. I think that's a good idea.
Yeah, I mean, we're 3
So we can
months
get
away.
we can get the quotes in the meantime, right?
Okay.
And just figure it out, and then if we could save some money by not having to do a study, that's great.
Correct. Let's see what the quotes are and see what the average is.
Guys, everybody, well, Mr. Walsh seems to want to do the study.
Yeah.
Oh, put your mic on.
How long are we going to wait to see how long my building's going to fill up?
Well, how long does
We'd like
that?
to have
yeah.
a concrete study as far as our superintendent in our district to really have some anticipated numbers of
Yeah.
a long term.
My
Not
only
just
cons-
waiting until January.
Right.
That's just my view, but
Okay.
certainly
Okay.
agree with that.
Because it'll come in lower. I mean, that's what the first one, it said 15. We're estimating 220. So then let's just say we're in the middle.
Still a lot of kids.
Yeah,
A
still
lot
a
of
lot.
kids.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, just, I just want to recognize Mrs.
Oh, yeah.
Ramirez. She's waiting to put some input. Go ahead, Mrs. Ramirez.
Yeah, I mean, I think there's pros and cons for both the study and doing what Mr. Scales is suggesting. But my concern would be, what if the building gets put off? What if there's a delay in that? I think the study could still be beneficial to give us, some numbers. And, we could also have a number that's kind of in between. It could, not necessarily be the study. It could also, it could also not necessarily be what we're estimating based off of those numbers. So I think that having possibly both, having the study and having those numbers might be helpful.
Okay, go ahead.
If there's a delay, that's going to be even better for us. I mean, it's just going to take more time for the children to come into the school systems, and we can sit back and we can wait and see how it plays out. If we do a study right away, and let's just say we spend $15,000-$16,000 on a study, and now all of a sudden, like you said, it was delayed until February, March, April. Now we have this study, and there's nothing to do with it at that point.
Do we agree that we could still work just to get the 3 proposals going, just to see? I mean, I
Absolutely.
think that's fair.
Do 2 things at
Let's-
once.
Yes.
Yeah, let's do that, if that works for you guys. We'll start there, and then our next meeting is only a week away. We could revisit this. I think both ideas are good. I understand both of your positions, but let's start with the proposals. Fair? Okay. All right, anything else on the affordable housing issue? Mr. Scales?
It from my end.
Okay, Mr. Walsh? That's it?
That's it.
Okay. All right, we are going to move right into the buildings and ground safety and security. Mr. Walsh, if you want to start.
Sure, I think our fee schedules for facility uses needs to be updated for everything from custodian fees per hour, what we gonna, for our labor that's involved in facility use, gym use, cafeteria use, classroom use. I don't know if anybody's had a chance to study our facility, our bylaws. We have Group A to Group E. And from what I see thank you for providing that information, Doctor. There's no fees for Class A, B, C, and D. I see fees for Class C. I think we really need to, just for a little background, Class A and B really pertains to our kids. And we're not going to charge our own kids in our district for using facilities. B and C usually apply to our sports groups coming in. And Vince, please correct me if I'm wrong. C is usually for adults that would use the facilities. D is for more political committees, action committees, Colts Township committees. And E, at the discretion. So we invested a lot of money in our district to upgrade all our roofs, our lighting systems, our everything. And I think
Can I just comment?
Sure,
I'm sorry.
sure, I'm sorry.
I didn't mean to be rude. So D, there's no charge for anything? Any facility use?
I may be reading this wrong, but I don't see any fees.
No, you're right.
Okay,
NA.
well,
Right.
I don't know why we wouldn't be charging any political township. They should be paying. They're collecting taxes.
Custodial fees,
Okay,
yeah.
whatever it is. I don't see why anybody should be getting a free
If
ride.
you look at this is why we're discussing, right, as
Right.
a board. I think there's definitely an opportunity for revenue to come in and start paying for all the upgrades we've invested in our district. I certainly don't want to charge our kids,
No.
definitely
Yeah,
not. But groups B, C, and D, and E, we need to look at that seriously. There's a comparison of different fees from different districts. I like Marlboro. They have broken down into profit and nonprofit. Their fees reflect actual usage. I think we may want to take a good look at that. Nick is going to come up with suggested fees to our district, being our facility manager, and I'm certainly going to pay a heavy weight to deference to his suggested fees. But if you look at it, we need to really look at the fee schedule. Our custodian's only making $35 an hour. Most of the districts are 53 and 80 on a weekend. So as a board, we need to change our fee schedule and start making some money for our district.
Yeah, I think that's going to be a great addition to a revenue stream for the Colts school districts. I did look at Marlboro's fee structure, and I think that was one of the best fee structures, and they're obviously a neighboring town. I think our facilities are just as nice as Marlboro's, and I think our fee structure should reflect that.
Right.
I see the nonprofit, the for-profit, and I forget what the third one was on there.
That's certain. I don't think our custodians, we're even covering their labor.
What we do is we have analysis. What we're referring to is we created a folder that has for just our investigation inquiry some samples from other districts of how they've restructured their fee schedules and whatnot. And so we'll embed that into this week's update so everyone can kind of see what it's there now as part of the conversation. And then we also provide an analysis because the hourly rates of our, of our custodians, maintenance, whatever's required, you want it to be, not just revenue, but also covering those costs. So if it's time and a half on a weekend or on a holiday where it's double time, we definitely certainly want to make sure that we're adjusting it to make sure we're covering it, and there's a cost to the, everything. And I think it was Freehold does a nice job of breaking it down even further. There's a couple, so Marlboro has a nice breakdown. We would be essentially redesigning, which we can do.
Well, I like Marlboro, I like the prices, and I also like the way they broke it down into those different sections.
And just as an aside, years ago, they also did an ESIP project. So they're an ESIP-based project. I want to see what obviously our costs are, but they also went through an ESIP project and, have been updated accordingly. So I think it's a great model, and it's a partner regional district that we can certainly reach into to
I
get
want it to be
updates.
fair to our district, to our sports clubs. I mean, I'm
Yeah, of
not looking
course.
to take advantage of them and charge an inordinate amount of money.
Yeah, 'cause
I
that-
want to make sure at least we're covering our basic costs, our labor costs, our lighting costs.
Right.
So.
Right, and especially to that point, when we received the information from DCO about what our potential savings could be, it was based on basic usage. So we are certainly, it's not based upon the energy we would spend in addition to having things, an air conditioning running all summer long, on a Sunday or a Saturday. Correct, exactly.
I know Mr. Regnetta, I don't know who was first. Was Jessica first?
I think it was Jessica,
Okay,
and then
Mrs. Ramirez, we'll take you first, and then we'll go to Mr. Regnetta. I'm sorry, go ahead.
Yes, I just wanted to ask Mary Jane if she could get us a list of how many of these, and maybe a breakdown, how many times does Class A use our facilities, Class B, and all of that, so we can see. And something else worth noting is Class D, we're paying for it one way or another, right? Because we all pay local and state and federal taxes. So, just something worth noting there. Again, no matter what, it's coming out of our pockets as taxpayers, one way or another. But yeah, if we could have a breakdown to see really what classes and how often, maybe in the last, maybe 3 years is probably a good way to estimate it. I'd say COVID was probably a weird time, so I probably won't have accurate information from that. But the last 3 years, maybe seeing what the trend is, so we can see too. That might help guide our fee schedule too. Maybe other towns might have more usage than what we typically do, being a smaller town, or maybe our high school or Freehold Regional maybe those facilities are used more often, being a larger building perhaps. So that might help guide us as well. So if you could get that information for the board, I think that might be helpful.
Sure, absolutely. We keep those records, absolutely, in the business office. Yep.
Mr. Regnetta?
Thank you. I just wanted to piggyback on what Mr. Walsh said. I don't want us to, I want us to make sure we watch what we're going to charge the Colts Neck Sports Foundation to, and be conservative about that, because I don't want those costs to be pushed onto the Colts Neck families, because they'll have to make it up somewhere, because they're, like many organizations, they're always trying to raise money, and we don't want to push them out or anything like that. So we want to make sure we're conservative as far as the Colts Neck Sports Foundation is concerned, I think.
Going with the Sports Foundation again, piggybacking off Vinny, they're constantly putting money back into our town, so we don't want to really eat away at their profits either, because they're helping the entire town as well, so.
All right, so we agree,
Yeah, they
Dr.
cover
Garvey, you
time
do the
right now.
research, take Marlboro's lead, see what they're charging, and then, Mr. Walsh, will you put that
I'm
out?
going to rely on
Yeah.
our own facilities director, Nick. I
Okay.
trust what he's going to bring to our board and what fees he thinks should be.
Smart.
We should start institute here, so I'm going to await his fee schedule for a board discussion and vote.
Okay, so where do we go from here? We wait for all of this to come in, and then, once we agree, we do have a vote on this?
Yep, well, I'll share the folder that's already there, right there.
Okay.
I think we created it with Mr. Walsh and Mr. Rico. We shared it with regards to just from the overlap of buildings and grounds and finance, and then I'll share it with the full board, and then you can see what's there in comparison, and really just take a look at the class schedule, to your point of saying, making sure are we still grouping people accordingly? Are we all still in agreement with that? And then, because that grouping is really also identification for priority. So our PTO, our students, bump an outside organization if they need the space. So it's kind of like one of the things, it's really a prioritization of the classes, and then secondary are the charges for those. So it's looked at in essentially two different ways that are linked together. So yes, so we'll do the resources. Mr. Murata is working with Mr. Marasco currently to putting some draft numbers together that have come directly from DCO, and looking at some things. We had some questions on some, so they were sent back. So it's all moving on the utility piece of it as. Yeah. Right, so we could look at the utility fees, we could look at the spaces themselves, whatever the case may be. So, and then, as you said, the custodial maintenance fees. Yeah, and then we also keep track of, the overtime, the things like that we've paid out, so.
If it helps, do you want me to just kind of highlight a little
Yeah.
bit what fees we've taken in?
Yeah, please.
So this might just add a little context to
No,
the
not at
discussion.
all.
So the last, these are estimates, by the way. 21, 22, we took in about $15,000 in facility use fees. 22, 23 was 13.8. 23, 24 dropped down to about 8,300. And then in 24, 25, we don't have, well, the final number is still getting audited, but it's somewhere between 8 and 12,000, and 25, 26, we dropped the budget down to about 8,200. So it's
Going down.
Yeah.
kind of going down.
And I think that leads to value to the next point. So while we're going revisiting this fee schedule, we should think about communications, the marketing strategy to get the word out there about the facilities. So you update the fee schedule and to reflect our facilities, but what are we doing to advertise it? So that we can start turning that curve around and getting more eyeballs in there and renting capacity, because they are good facilities, and where we want to improve them, we want to improve them to support a growing sense of demand. So we want to increase demand, and we can do that through effective marketing. So while we're going through fee scheduling, let's think about strategies for marketing, think about updating the website to reflect it, just more broadband communication strategies about the facilities and getting out to the general public so that they can rent it.
Yeah, I like it.
Where possible.
Yeah, and in agreement with that is also most of the time, most important thing, especially once we start running the boilers, is there has to be a custodian with a boiler's license on there. So I think that that's also a resource that has to be in place, and we have to be able to secure to be able to average. So we obviously want to find that balance too of being able to staff something as a request, as opposed to the great facilities we have. But obviously, we put a lot of time and energy, and we're proud of. But we also want to make sure we can promise the staffing that's required for the operations of that as well. Yeah.
And do we have a right to refuse as well? You do?
Always.
Okay, anything else for buildings and ground, safety, security?
That's it.
Nothing? All right, moving right into communications, Mr. Scarpa.
So thank you. I do believe, has the website been updated to reflect the new additions to the ESIP program?
Not yet. That's what we were waiting on the visuals of it to do it. Yes.
That's in
Yes.
queue. Okay, so pending that update, it's going to put a wrap essentially on the ESIP program. We will be advertising it. We'll come up with a creative solution within our newsletter as well to put a capstone on that entire program and continue to advertise that. But that's going to be the backbone of our facilities marketing as well, because it does show that we are giving back to the community and our environment in this space. So we're gonna celebrate that achievement in the newsletter as well as the updated website. That's all.
All right, great, thank you, Mr. Scarpa. Moving into curriculum, Mrs. Camera.
Okay, number one, 2025-26 DIBELS. So DIBELS stands for the Dynamic Indicators of Basic Early Literacy Skills. So pretty much it's a research-based assessment. It measures foundational reading skills, phonemic awareness, phonics, fluency, vocabulary, and comprehension. So it's designed for benchmarking and progress monitoring. So I talked about this before. It's a data point. It's a data point our district uses to put students into tier interventions, more or less. So it's screening data. So this is just some feedback. All students in kindergarten through grade 3 participate in DIBELS assessments 3 times this year, in the fall, winter, and spring. After each assessment window, scores will be uploaded to the Genesis document tab, and a summary letter will be sent home to families. This does represent a change from previous years. While the district has consistently used the DIBELS assessment as part of our dyslexia screener, the 25-26 school year introduces one key update. Kindergarten students will now be assessed in the fall, and all results, again, will be shared with families. So for our families, please look up for follow-up communication from Dr. Reynolds in the coming days with additional details. Okay, anything on number 1? Okay, moving on. 2, the update for the parent access to classroom libraries. So both Cress and Cedar Drive Middle School are ready to go. And I don't have the exact date. Do we have the exact date they're ready to go?
They're ready to go out this week, probably. If not the first beginning of next week, they're ready. They're all done. And the instructions for everything are going to be linked through the Google Classrooms and be out there, and parents will be able to have their access through the library and everything.
Great.
And
So this is
for
what-
Cedar and elementary school.
Yeah, so this is something that was really important to all of us who are on the board now. We wanted more transparency, and we are giving it to our constituents. Okay, moving on to any other comments on 2? I see 2 as a tremendous success. It's our digital library. Okay, we called it different names, but I'm really excited about number 2. Okay, number 3 is the 2025-2026 state assessments and the field test dates. So Cedar Drive Middle School, grades 6, 7, and 8 will be testing October 29th to 30th. It is the NJSLA pilot testing. Crest, the elementary school, grades only 4 and 5. Grade 3 is not testing. We'll test on November 12th and 13th. I was surprised because originally we were told it was just to get like some field information, but these are full-blown assessments. Students will test day 1 writing, 120 minutes. Day 2, it will be 2 units, ELA reading 60 minutes and math 60 minutes. So again, for another total of 120 minutes. So I thought that was quite a lot for just gathering data. That was my personal reflection. I don't know if you felt that way as well.
We do feel that way, and as we are, it's almost the same as preparing. I was working with Dr. Reynolds and Mr. Capasso, who do a lot of the uploading of all the data and making sure that all the scheduling, the enrollment, there's actually been some technical difficulties that we've had to been troubleshooting as we're uploading information. Yeah, there's a lot involved in this. As we too thought it was a sample. Hey, we're going to try this out for the spring, and no, it is a full-blown assessment window. So, stay tuned. We see it the same way, Mrs. Camera, without a doubt.
Okay. Any other comments on that? Was number 4? Okay. Moving on. This one's very exciting. The Board of Education, we are going to recognize students who received a perfect NJSLA score in 2025. That will be done at our November 19th meeting. This is coming from the administration, so thank you, because it's unbelievable that we have students who receive perfect scores.
So I believe that we wound up with, let me just say, I think there were a total of 12 perfect scores. 12, which is an 850, is the perfect score from 3 to 8, is that you can have a perfect score. And we had 12 perfect scores with a couple of the students achieving it both in ELA and mathematics. So there might not be 12 students because it might be 10 or 10 or 8 because a few of our students achieved perfect in both. So we felt that was definitely worthy of celebration and a remarkable accomplishment for our students. So I think that just stay tuned. Because of that, we may move the location, to a primary school to allow for a little bigger space to recognize that major accomplishment. The perfect score. I too enjoy a good confidence booster to our district. We don't, in terms of perfect scores. We don't get that. We use that data and stuff. And the sad part is moving forward, because of the new system of the test, we don't know what the comparability is going to be from last year to this year moving forward, and nobody knows that information yet. We have this testing window. We don't even have the dates for the spring yet, so we're kind of still in that dark. But we're very proud of that, and we certainly want to highlight perfect score achievements is not an easy thing. So it's not. So
it was wonderful. It was the administration's idea, and it supports our board goal on student achievement, where we're recognizing and celebrating all diverse forms of achievement, and this is just so something to be in awe of, because I don't know if we took these tests could achieve a perfect score. So So there are a few additional comments I just want to make too that are not part of the 1 through 5. The Stokes Outdoor Education Trip for our 7th graders is coming up October 15th to 17th. It's a 3 days, 2-night experience. Our students get to engage in hands-on learning, team building activities, outdoor exploration that reinforce key concepts in both science, environmental awareness, and collaboration. And again, the board would like to extend our thanks to the many parents who are volunteering, parents and guardians who are volunteering. A bunch of us here have gone. We know how difficult it is to rearrange your personal and professional schedules, so thank you. It's also the Week of Respect. I hope people have seen online. All our schools are participating in spirit agendas. So the New Jersey Department of Education established a Week of Respect to promote safe and supportive school environments for all students. So again, a special thank you to the PTO, the school counselors, and all the committees for creating these spirit agendas for each school. And obviously today, as Mr. Ryan spoke about, having the firefighters come, just again, what a wonderful experience. So it takes a lot of people to make these things happen. And 2 more things, I'm almost there. Parent-teacher conferences, October 20 to 23rd. Look out for the sign-up information soon. It's going to be going through Genesis, the parent portal. Parents will be able to choose a virtual or in-person conference with your child's teacher. And the district will be operating on a short session schedule from October 20th to 24th. And then the last thing, there was the 3GN assembly today. I was hoping maybe somebody can share a little bit with our residents about what happened today. I was not able to attend. I was teaching, but the Cedar Drive Middle School 8th grade students, it was a continuation of their 7th grade Holocaust studies. So is anyone able to tell us a little bit about
I think
it?
Mrs. Horowitz should take the floor on that.
Yeah, so today a representative from 3G came to speak with our eighth graders, and it was really moving and definitely emotional, and honestly, it was I'm trying to think of the words. I mean, as a granddaughter of a Holocaust survivor myself, it's always interesting to hear stories from others, but even just the way that the kids were engaged was really amazing to watch, and I think that's a testament to what they're already learning. Our teachers, our staff, they had great questions, and it was really, really a great presentation, and hopefully something we can continue to do.
So, and thank you for organizing it. And this was completely free too, just so everyone knows. This is a free program we were able to bring into our schools because of Sarah Horowitz. So
I'm going to add to that. Wow. It was an awesome event. There was over 100 students, I think, for the middle school. Very well attended, very well organized. It was in a nice community environment. The administrative staff did a fantastic job getting it up and running. It was timely. But you left with feeling like kindness. If you are kind to some people, and that should translate towards later on in your life, why not? It was a beautiful, beautiful message. I'm so glad I attended with my daughter. It was just all in, just very well done. It's exactly what the school needed, and I think to echo kindness and reflect upon a generation that has really experienced a lot of trauma, and it was just very well done. And the experience of this particular grandfather and his granddaughter was nothing short of remarkable. But it was really, really special. Thank you for supporting it. Yeah.
I just have a question. When we recognize the perfect scores on the NJSLA, can we incorporate it in the meeting where we recognize the high honor roll and the special achievements, which we put together for last year? Can we continue that for this year? Or is that too much in one meeting?
We can. I don't think it coincides. We can delay the perfect score. We thought it was a little separate, but if we wanted to delay it, we couldn't coincide it for our first marking period.
It's up to you. I think.
only 10 students, right?
Yeah, so whatever. If you want to do it at a separate meeting, I don't know. Whatever works, but keep that in mind that we want to continue
Absolutely.
recognizing
Yep.
the great achievements from from our kids.
Yep.
Okay, that was it? That concluded your report? Okay. Moving on to finance, Mr. Arico.
Yeah, so the recommendation to raise the substitute bus driver rate from 25 an hour to 27 an hour, I'm all for it. It's 27 an hour, we're still below the average. So, and hopefully we'll attract some new bus drivers along with that. So, that's all.
I'd like to make a comment on this. I know I spoke to Dr. Garabay, and she was trying to explain the breakdown of everything. And, you know, I understand raising this, but sometimes I still look back at our lunch aides, and we discussed, you know, they're barely making a living wage here. It upsets me that, you know, they're not even up to this amount at all. I mean, and I feel like we don't really fight for the lunch aides, and maybe the bus aides as well. I think they're getting the same amount of money, you know, and I always wonder why, you know, and you said it was union related, you know, and like I said, I'm not stepping on the union's toes, but I just feel that, you know, where you're supposed to fight for, they don't, you know, so I don't know what we could do. I find it hard, not that I don't want to give the 27 here, I take your recommendation wholeheartedly, but, you know, like I said, you know, to give $27 when our lunch aides are barely making a living wage is really, really upsetting to me.
I think
It's unfortunately the demand for bus drivers is through the roof right now, and staffing is extremely difficult. And the fact that the average is above 27 an hour and we were at 25 was making it even more difficult for us. So we're still increasing $2 an hour, but we're still below the average.
Listen, take your recommendation.
Yeah,
You know, I certainly feel the board will definitely support it. I just wanted to make note of, you know, the discrepancy and my opinion on the lunch aides.
Okay.
Dr. Garabay, to put it in perspective, on average, how many hours a day are the bus drivers working?
4 or 5.
4 or 5.
Depends on their route.
Yeah, that $27 an hour is more than, I think, acceptable.
All right, anybody else have comments on?
Are we short bus drivers still?
Yeah.
The answer is yes. However, I have a scheduled interview tomorrow morning with someone who might be filling our last position. So to be continued, which would bring us whole.
Okay.
Yeah. I mean, the subs is another story, but I think this may help. So.
All right, okay, that's it for finance. We have a considerable amount under policy.
It won't be
so-
long.
That's okay, that's right, we got to do our business, so, yeah, Mr. Scales, you could take the
That's what you said the last time.
Hey, that was your guys' fault. You guys had questions. I mean, come on. No, parental bill of rights. Another, we are live, right? This is, essentially, we have gone to, I would say, every corner of the district, right? First, we started with the parental advisory committee, right? We've had, this has been on, I would say, 5 or 6 different agendas right now before we've even gone into a first, second read. And then we asked for feedback from administrative staff and the schools, and we've made 3 versions based off of that feedback, right? So typically we're not legislating, but typically when you legislate or when you create a policy and things like that, it's just done by the board. But just wanted to thank Dr. Garabay for your work. I mean, you've created something great. I think this just shows, like, this is a true democracy, right? When we can go to other angles and ask for other opinions and ask for feedback of something that is geared towards the parents of the district, and everyone with open arms provided that feedback. So we're here. My recommendations is, again, this is sort of the last board review before we go into how we're going to institute this. And so just, asking with a lot of, colleagues of mine, and then asking and doing some research of figuring out how to best institute this into the district. Because we call it a Bill of Rights, it would still go through a first and second read, right? So we wouldn't be able to do like a declaration or a resolution or a proclamation or anything like that. It would still go, because we're calling it this parental Bill of Rights. So my recommendations would be, again, first read, second read, and then adoption, and then we list it on the policies. And then we've gone through literally every section, and we've inserted all of the policies that that particular section covers. So we have covered almost every single policy. I think it was great timing, because as we were going through sort of the, the changing of the guard of who our policyholder is, it allowed you to go in and look at all those policies. I mean, you did a lot of work on this, so thank you. I really appreciate it. So open to any questions, any comments,
Yes,
concerns?
Mrs. Ramirez is waiting to be addressed, so go ahead,
Yep.
Mrs. Ramirez.
So I have two questions. Well, I guess really one question and then one. I'm so sorry. And then one clarification point. So the first question would be: has legal looked at this exact version of the writing?
I believe that this is based off of recommendations from.
Yeah,
Okay,
she-
so they
she
haven't looked
reviewed,
at this exact version.
Yeah, she reviewed several times and basically spoke to us about revising it to this final version. So yes.
Okay, but this exact version has not been reviewed by legal.
Well, it's the version based off of those comments, but is there need to be a final read-through from the attorney? 100%.
So we'll give her a final draft. I
Yeah.
really don't want to waste any more funds on this. We try to cap it very conservatively, so I'm going to try to have her briefly look at everything, and then,
It would just be a final read-through, because it's
Yeah.
everything that she.
Yeah, it's everything that she recommended to just change to be in compliance with everything,
Yep.
so.
Okay, and then, so the other, my other concern, really one of my main concerns, is one of the feedback points that she did give us that I don't see change is that it does start with we the parents. And I think that this does suggest that it was jointly authored by and with our parents, which it was not. One of our main jobs as a board is to reach out to our stakeholders when we're talking about policy and whatnot. And so if we're not able to do that, and if we have not done that, I don't think that we should be starting it as we the parents. I think it should be starting with we the Colts Neck Board of Education, so on and so forth. Yes, we're all parents in the district, but there could be, I think this just opens up a can of worms. There could be a time when a board they could change all this language. And I don't want the board to be speaking for me as a parent. So while I agree with 99.9% of what's in this Bill of Rights and I support it, I don't ever want a Board of Education to be speaking for me as a parent. And I didn't write this as a parent. And so I didn't contribute to it as a parent. We didn't have the parents all come in here. They didn't sign off on everything. And we didn't send out a version to all the parents and poll them and say, hey, all parents in our district, what do you think of this? So I just don't feel comfortable starting it out as we the parents. I know that was a legal concern by our legal team that it doesn't seem like it's reflected in this version.
Yep, because it's not, so again, this isn't, it's written by the parents. That's why it's called a
Well, it's
parental
not
bill
written
of
by all
rights.
the
It would be
parents of the
called
district. The only parents of the district that had anything to do with this are the ones that are sitting at this table. No other parents of the district had anything to do with this.
They
Yeah,
do.
but we covered it in the PAC.
Yep.
We had open communications through the Board of Ed. We responded to all those. I responded to them personally. I mean, I'm not going to sit here and wait for 12,000 parents to contact me on this, so.
No, I'm not suggesting that. What I'm saying is I don't think that it takes anything away from this if we don't start it out as we the parents and we simply start it out as we the Board of Education of Colts Neck do solemnly vow, or I think that first line, you just take out we the parents, I think it holds the same weight behind it. I think it has the same meaning. We're just not speaking for the parents, because I think that's what we're doing here. And as a conservative, I don't want to be speaking for any parent. And again, we're writing these policies and we're writing these Bill of Rights, or however this is going to end up getting formatted into our district for future boards as well. And what says that a future board can't come in and change some of the language in here and then still have it say we the parents? And as a parent, I don't ever want the Board of Education to speak for me as a parent. They can definitely say that they support and they can encourage my rights and my beliefs, which is, I think, what we're saying here. But starting it out as we the parents, when again, I'm saying the I as me as Jessica Ramirez as a civilian in town, not as a Board of Ed member. I didn't write this as a parent. I had no stake in this. I don't feel comfortable doing that. I don't want to ever speak for any individual parent that sits in our district, even if they agree with some of this, part of it, all of it. It doesn't matter. I don't feel comfortable speaking for any one parent. And I think if we just take that out, I think we have the same weight. I think it holds the same meaning. It still is saying that the Board of Education believes that the parents have that utmost authority. It doesn't take anything away from the meaning. It's just not suggesting that parents have jointly authored this document, because they have not.
So Jessica, this is Brian. I'm going to challenge that a little bit. This is the Parental Bill of Rights. This is not the Board of Education's Bill of Rights. Now, while we are an elected body of the constituents of parents and non-parents in this town, some of us are parents and some of us may not necessarily be, but we are an elected body that is representative of the town. So to say that they didn't have a voice, I would challenge that, because one of the reasons why I'm sitting here is because they did have a voice. That being said, a Parental Bill of Rights, it should direct it towards the parents. So if you're putting forth a Parental Bill of Rights indicating what their rights are as parents and their role here with schools, saying we, the Board of Ed, is actually going to trump the parents in that situation. So I would challenge that and say that it's currently written as defined. Same thing like the Constitution, we the people. It's written, it's not we the Congress, we the Senate, or we the House of Representatives, or we the President. It's we the people. So it's along those same lines. So that's I stand behind that decision.
Yeah,
and Brian, I agree with that, and I think that this document is directed towards parents. Absolutely, towards parents from the Board of Education. We can't take away that the Board of Education is who wrote this. The Board of Education is the one who authored it. The Board of Education is the one who's actually saying that these rights exist. The Board of Education is the one who's acknowledging that. The parents are not the ones that are acknowledging it. We are, as the Board of Education. So I agree with you in all of that, except for the fact that it is being directed from the Board of Education to parents. It is the Parental Bill of Rights. It's the rights that this Board of Education believes that parents have. Again, I believe in the rights that are in it. I support the rights that are in it. It's just not coming from the parents. It's coming from us as a Board of Education, which I think it takes away from that. I think it's taking away from our mission as the Board of Education to be drafting this. It's taking away from what our goal was and what our mission is. I believe what the background of all of this, and hearing Mr. Scales talk about this for now, 10 months, is that he believes, and as a Board of Education, I think we rallied around that belief, is that our Board of Education believes that parents have these rights. And we go through it and we outline it here. It's the Board of Education that believes that. It's not the parents that believe it. I mean, yes, obviously, they do believe it in the fact that we're directing it towards them, and they are legal rights. And so it's not to say that, but the Board of Education is the one that's passing this. The parents aren't up here voting on this. The parents aren't the ones that authored it. The parents aren't the ones that brought it to us. If parents brought this to us and said, hey, we want the Board of Education to acknowledge this Bill of Rights that us as parents have put together, and we're going to bring it to the board, and then we want the board to, adopt it as a resolution or put it on their agenda and speak to it, fine. But that's not how this happened. This transpired because our Board of Education believes that these parents have this right, and in believing that, we drafted this document to put forward to the parents to acknowledge those rights that we have. We are doing it as the Board of Education. We're not doing it as parents. We're doing it as the Board of Education. And that's important. I don't think that it's a bad thing. I think that's very, very important to make that distinction, that we as the Board of Education are doing this. Again, it's just my concern, my thoughts. You don't have to agree with it, but it's where I'm at.
But you're
So at this...
Mr. Scales up. Okay, Ms. Ramirez, I absolutely respect your comments. I think the board does as well. At this time, the majority of the board is in agreement of moving forward and passing this. I will send it out to our attorney for a final final approval, and I will expect this to be on the RAM meeting for a first read. And that's the final thing I'm going to discuss on this matter.
Angelique,
Yes.
when you send it out to the attorney for the final approval, could you just ask her if we'd have a legal problem with that one line?
Yeah, I will ask her, but once again, we are elected
Sure.
by this town. The people who voted for us instill a security in our decisions. They feel secure in us as board members on what we pass here, and I'm 100% confident that that's what the community voted us in to do. They're confident in how we run the board, or else we won't be sitting here. I'm not going to keep entertaining this. This is going on for 10 months now. I don't want to continue any more legal costs to this. And like I said, the majority of the board is ready to move for a first read, so that's what we're going to do. All right. Can we move on, Mr. Scales?
We can. Number two, this something that's been brought over by some fellow board members here. I don't know if anyone wants to bring and discuss this. Dr. Garibay, do you want to kind of walk through this? This has to do with our good old $50 for the Chromebooks and how
Sure,
we're
just-
using things.
Sure, just bringing to the discussion, there was a recommendation for us to look at, the fees that we're accruing, and I think that part of it, we were able to, Mrs. Volpe and Mrs. Scarpa were able to engage in a conversation with our student representatives last week or 2 weeks ago, and we were talking about that. So I think it was timely to bring this forward as part of the COW agenda to say, we should be looking these over. There's a request on the board for us to be examining that. Based on current right now, we have a trend of bringing in about $30,000 in use of technology fees. That's what we do on an annual basis. It's $50. It's trending.
50 essentially.
Correct. From third grade through eighth grade, that's the fees. And then what we're doing in the process right now, which we will also share with the board, is what our external repairs are, because that is something that was part of a conversation, that from internal conversation based on an increase in student damage to the Chromebooks that have to be sent out. It's not troubleshooting that our internal staff does with the infrastructures and things like that, but it's, ripping the keys off. Yeah, it's all of the things. And there's also a disciplinary part of that too, as the administration will talk through. If it's accidents happen, kids drop their Chromebooks, things are so there becomes a process involved in that. That we have to look at. So I think that we'll just continue this. This is the information that's there. We'll provide the financial information, and then we can have good conversations about what we want to do, but it is timely because there are budgetary implications to it, right? If we look on average on the amount of students that we're bringing in, the technology fee, and the average is a little less, probably about 28,000 that we're bringing out. I'm rolling up in terms of that would be a cost, because we would want to look at what we're spending out in repairs, and seeing how the board wants to address that on both ends. Yeah. Okay.
I look at it as, essentially, the way that we're doing it now, not calling us socialists, but it's socializing damage to all of the Chromebooks, essentially, right? So if there's damage, everyone has to pay the $50 or you don't get it, right? And then if you have some money that's due at lunch, right, you can't get your Chromebook until that's paid off, and then you pay the $50.
No, we haven't done that. No. Hey, but that's no.
What I'm saying is essentially exactly to your point. Like the $50 becomes, other people and other students who take care of their Chromebooks and it's pristine, they still have to pay that $50 every year. So when we originally purchased them, how do we purchase them from school funds? They're not granted to us by Google or the state or anything like
The
that?
Chromebooks?
Yeah.
No, they're on a lease cycle.
Okay.
So they're on a 3 to 4 year lease cycle. I think it's 3 years, and they go back in terms of that. So just like a car, if there's damage to it, there's money owed at the end of the leases. So, and the reason why we lease is because for a Chromebook and infrastructure purposes, the rapid rate of updating information and all the things like that, right?
Yeah.
And having one, we pay substantial fees. That's another thing we're going to share is upon the return of the lease, that they are, we give them, they are being used without a doubt, because it's use and it's wear and tear. So those are, that's all part of the financial
Yeah.
investment that's made in that on an annual basis. So we can be
look
looking
into
at
any
that.
opportunity where we charge them $50, but if they return it in great shape, maybe they get $25 back, sort of
haven't.
like as an incentive.
Incentives.
An incentive
We
for
haven't.
being a good student. and doing,
Yeah. Reward.
and then charging them up the wazoo if it's damaged. Like I know
Yeah.
we do that.
We
if
do.
It's blatantly
Yeah.
damaged, but there should be some, not a reward, but a sense of responsibility or a rebate associated with it.
That could be
Hey, you did a good
reapplied.
job. You did what you were supposed to do. Have them sign a contract too. These students should be aware that this is not their property. It is on loan, and it's a nice lesson to be learned going forward.
Right.
Can we look into that?
We can absolutely look at absolutely, we can look at different. So we'll be forward fronting with all of that information about what those repairs are and stuff.
Okay.
Yeah.
So no parents would love not having to pay the $50. You have that conversation where you're like,
Yeah.
I don't have to pay $50 for this Chromebook that the school bought, but it costs money. Like, so that lease, there's essentially, we're ordering, like you said, we're ordering, 1,000 of them, right? And they're giving us a 3-year lease agreement on 1,000. They expect 1,000 back, and if there's any damages, we take it from that pool of money and send it.
It's exactly what happens.
In the high school, it's one fee for all 4 years.
Oh, okay.
So I believe it was $80. I feel like it was $80.
80?
Don't quote me, but I'm pretty sure it was $80 for all 4 years. So you pay it once.
Do they get them at the end or no? I know some
get to
districts
keep
give
them?
them. Some districts do.
I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't think so.
Yeah, some districts do.
budget's so high.
Yes,
That wouldn't be a-
some,
that wouldn't be a lease
yeah,
then.
some,
Yeah, they-
some
they
have
would
a,
purchase.
I'm not sure, I wasn't sure if
No, I
the
know
regional
what
kind of thing, but I didn't want to
Like you
speak for
said, they
them.
probably would, in
Right.
3 years, they're just
Right.
obsolete. They're
Okay.
bricked, is the term for it. But yeah, I wanted to thank you guys for bringing that up because it's something you think about all the time. Like, we're Colts Neck. We have money, so cool. Excellent.
All right.
Anything else?
The internet, and just again, we wanted to bring to the attention, the internet, as we're still talking about, there's a lot of conversations, especially in the different political races that are going on right now, emphasis on the cell phone uses, and as we've been doing.
That's number 3,
We've
correct?
been yeah, did I skip over 2? I'm sorry. Okay, so, so the number 3, going into the internet-enabled devices, we're still part of the conversation. We're still piloting, we're having success. I know Mrs. Volpe and Mr. Scarper saw the actual pockets that were in the classroom, saw them, how they're being used. Not a lot of pushback, but there's still conversations as we're, to your point, transitioning to our new policies, how we want to look at those. We have existing, but then correct. But then also recently, the DOE put out guidance for student use of internet-enabled devices. And the reason why we put it this way is because some of the feedback as the narratives and the concerns are being brought forward, does also center not just about cell phones, but about smartwatches. So that is something that is becoming an increasing distraction within the classrooms because we're not handling them in the same way that cell phones are being handled, and younger students, it's a bigger component of them at primary and elementary school. So I think our staff is looking to partner with us to give some suggestions and recommendations about maybe looking at it in the same way and really discouraging that type. We know why parents, we respect everyone's decision. We're really looking at it in the same way because it is technically an internet activated device in the same way from a communication point of view. So just something, again, to be putting out there, the guidance, and then as we're informing, to keep ourselves informed as we draft policy for that. Okay?
Yeah, because the bills that, the verbiage that comes by, and this is where people need to understand essentially like the differences. These devices are ours as parents, right? We're giving them to our children
Correct.
to use. So the state of New Jersey wants to prevent you as a parent from giving a phone to your child. So we have to think about that in essence. Like all this other rigmarole makes sense. Like when it comes to like cheating, you don't want, the phones out, you don't want the watches, all that makes sense. But it's a teaching moment as well, just like you brought up, Mr. Scarpa, about learning how to use the Chromebooks and understand. It's a teaching moment where the teacher has rules in the classroom. And if you bring that cell phone out and you're using it, like there will be accountability and there will be a penalty for it. The state it's a complete overreach where they want to block your ability to give something to your child, which is not, again, if you go back to the parental bill of rights that we spoke about, again, that's a breach of a right that's been granted, right? So my whole thing is that if the state's going to give us guidance, it needs to be the correct guidance, and not just something, again, schools are nonpartisan, right? It can't just be something where they want to remove it completely just because they think it's a good idea and they don't have children in school to understand the impact if you have a cell phone and you need to pick someone up at 3:30 because soccer practice is over, right? There's difference. There's not access to the school building to run in and call your mom in the office to say, come pick me up. There's no pay phones on the property. So these are the things they're not thinking of. So that's the only thing that I'll say on the matter is that the election's going to determine this policy that's been given to us. So. And last one, number 4. This is a reminder. This is what we had agreed to for already passed on a first read of medication, going to second read during the next round. That's it. Done.
All right, not bad. Okay, nothing under negotiations, transportation, personnel. We have one small thing. I don't know if you want to speak to that, Dr. Garabay?
Oh, for personnel.
Yep, anything? That one
The clubs are
recommendation?
coming up. I'm just pointing out that some of the students who participate require a one-on-one aid as part of their
Okay.
IAP, so you'll see some of those maybe retroactively based upon our schedules, because the club started this week, some of them started, and so there may be retroactive appointments of some instructional
Because
assistants.
I didn't realize they started this week.
Yeah,
I
so
gotta
some of
make,
them, and based on the hours, so that's what you just wanted to give, in addition to the regular, like, FMLA leaves and things that you'll see on an appointment level, that might just be that point of it. I just want to point that out.
Okay,
Okay.
no worries, thanks for the heads up on that. Okay, so that pretty much concludes that. We're going to open the floor to comments again from the public at this time. You're welcome to come up, state your name and address for the record, and then we'll go on from that.
Hi, Mallory Reardon, 165 Laird Road. I wanted to share that the Betsy Ross event is this Thursday morning. I know you were not certain about the date of that. And then I had a thought when you guys were talking about the fees for facility usage. So I actually, this past weekend, my kids were playing soccer, and one of the families on my son's team, they are a military family, and they were talking about how playing the rec soccer is a big deal, like paying the fee for that is a big deal for their family. So that was just something that crossed my mind, that I don't want to accidentally, charge rates for things that could make it even harder for the military families to participate in the sports. And then
Just to
Oh,
comment on
sure.
that, I'm glad you brought that up, and I'm sure this board would definitely take any of our military personnel into consideration, where we would, I'm certain I could speak for everybody here, not apply that to those families, so.
Yeah. Well, that's great to hear. It
Yeah,
just,
we
it was
certainly
like
would not.
on
Yeah,
my
we
mind
certainly would not.
while you were discussing that.
The Sports Foundation usually gives discounts to all our military families, so I hope they know that. Maybe you could make sure they're
Yeah,
aware
definitely.
of that.
I see them every Saturday, so I'll mention it. And the discussion about the Chromebooks. So I was wondering if it would be possible to see which age groups or which grades are causing the most damage.
Sounds like the older grades, I could vouch for that.
Oh, really? Okay.
By the,
Okay.
listen, I'm gonna call it out where truth needs to be told. It's definitely the older grades. I think the younger grades probably have mishaps with dropping them and
Yeah,
stuff.
yeah.
Indirectly doing it, but I definitely, just from word of mouth and from what I hear, it's the older grades.
Oh, okay. Honestly, I was thinking it was the younger grades, and I know a lot of the parents
It
in
could
the
be. I don't know, Dr. Garabay will have to, research that, but,
yeah.
yeah, maybe. Yeah.
I mean, I just entered that realm. My third grader, he does not bring his Chromebook home at night. We just log into his Google Classroom on my computer, and that's how we get his homework done. But I was just thinking that a lot of the, I won't say a lot, but I know some parents on the parent advisory committees had already expressed like reservations about Chromebook usage. So I was just thinking if those are the young kids are the ones that are creating the most damage, maybe it would be better to encourage more of them to just leave the device at school instead of bringing it on the bus.
Is it required,
and-
not to interrupt your comments,
Yeah.
but is it required in the younger grades that they take it home? I know my daughter being in 8th grade, it's definitely a requirement,
Yeah.
because all her work is done on that.
So the way our programs are, and so is it required? I don't think there's anything that says, but what we do is we tell them to, our programs, our systems are all linked up to their homework, their Google Classroom. It's almost bringing your homework home with you electronically. You do have access to it through anywhere you can log into the
Yeah.
schools, but it is monitored through our systems on the Chromebook. So the younger students who have a little bit more parental, I don't want to likely, I don't want to be,
Oh, yeah, I sit right
generic.
next to him the whole
Right,
time.
have a little bit more of the sitting next to, who have that capability of doing
Yeah.
that if we wanted to. However, middle school where they are. So we do it as an equitable access to everyone. So it's encouraged to be teaching that responsible, bring them home, charge them, have them ready, and so on. So do things happen? Absolutely. Does a peanut butter and jelly sandwich get squished into a screen? Absolutely it does. Does something accidentally get spilled? Absolutely. These are more of the malicious, and weaning through that, dropped, getting off the bus or something like that. So those, that happens.
Yeah.
But yeah, so we look at that. So we will be doing the data. We do keep track of where it comes about and so on and so forth. I know that sometimes too, I don't know that it's happened, I think in the spring, sometimes our technology person at the middle school, support person, runs an after-school like Fix-It Club, where there'll been times where he's offered to facilitate, a club where he brings in the kids who might have an interest in tech repair and walks them through, looking at it and building upon things that they've learned. So it's just a little piece of interest that we do, yeah. But some we can't do, though. Some we do have to farm out. And we also keep extras. So because we don't want to have that interruption, so when one comes in, we'll bring it in, we'll give you, an automatic replacement, and then we watch to see if we can fix it ourselves, troubleshoot it, and or have to send it out. So, but yeah, all part of the larger conversation that's been tied back into the PAC as well. Yes,
Thank you.
of course.
All right, great. Thank you, Mrs. Reardon, for your participation. Mr. Ryan, you want to come up?
I think I got it on.
Yeah.
Wow,
yes.
look at that, huh? Holy cow. I'm in school and I learned. You were talking about the 12 perfect scores and the kids with this honor roll stuff and all that. Bring it to the town. It should be celebrated in the town.
The only thing is, our high honor roll was like, I don't know, it was like 100 students or something. You mean the perfect scores? The perfect scores, they're two different things. The NJSL.
High honor roll, bring it in.
Yeah, well.
Why are you not bringing it? Why would you not bring it in? It's a good thing.
We can, I
They
guess,
celebrate a championship of a high school basketball team. I mean, 12 kids getting a perfect mark is definitely a celebration. Bring it out.
But there's quite a few children that are recognized. If they're willing to take it on, we certainly could propose
Definitely.
it to them.
Put it right on, definitely.
Okay.
That's the only way you're going to get it out there, and the people know. And really, these kids, but you know what? Put the good stuff out. All the other stuff there is all malarkey.
Okay.
When there's something good, put it out there, because we need it,
Okay.
and these kids should be celebrated.
We try to do that here as much as possible. But
No, I know you
certainly,
do, and I applaud that, because I remember when I was a kid, the only trophy I got for sports was a championship trophy. I never got a second place, nothing like that or anything like that. Everything is like second place. When you're getting a perfect score, celebrate. When you're getting something like that, definitely celebrate and bring it out, because the world needs it, and these kids can go and say, I worked hard for this, and now I'm being recognized. Not that they got a 10 or whatever, a 1000 or whatever.
Well,
Just
we
as a
actually
good thing.
decided that. I remember when I proposed this idea of recognizing them, there's honor roll and then there's high honor roll. So if we did honor roll, it would have been like a lot of kids. So we limited.
Well, I'm going to leave it up to your call on that one, because you guys know and all that, but definitely there should be a celebration out there. Because with everything going on or whatever, I think it's a great idea, and I
Yeah,
think
it's
these
definitely a
kids would
great way to-
appreciate it, and the parents would appreciate it.
Yeah, certainly.
I think
Thank
the
you.
mayor should take all 12 of those, and each of those children get to be mayor for a day. That's what I propose.
Now, that would be interesting.
That's what I propose.
Absolutely.
Mrs. Buss, thank you.
Thank you very much for your time.
Great. Thank you, Mr. Ryan. Anybody else? Mrs. Jones, would you like to say anything? All right. If everybody's done, we're going to close public comment. Thank you all for your participation. Moving on to new business. I'd like to open the floor briefly to anybody with new business this evening. Anybody? Nope. Oh. recognizing Mrs. Ramirez for new business.
I believe it was 2 years ago the first time this got brought up, but for sure I know the beginning of 2024 we also brought it up for the board to consider, and I'm not really sure whatever happened with it, but I know we were talking about considering doing advertising on our school buses in order to bring some extra revenue to the district. So I just wanted to kind of circle back to that and see if there was any further looking into that, and if there wasn't, if we could maybe take a look at looking into that again. I believe it was during our Governance 2 training we were talking about it, and some districts in New Jersey do this where they do have advertising on the school buses, and it brings in a pretty good revenue source for the districts.
Yeah, I think, actually, Mr. Ramirez, I think this year, didn't I hear somebody say that recently about bus advertisement? Because I don't know, or maybe it was back in 2024. I mean, the time is flying. I don't know, but I could have
At the
sworn.
beginning of 2024, it was on,
Okay.
I re-listened to one of our meetings, and it was, for sure, I brought it up then, and then I believe it was in February. But I believe it was also brought up in 2023 as well, during my time on the board. I just think that it was something that wasn't maybe at the top of our priority list then, but in speaking earlier about getting some extra revenue into the district with the different fees, I think it could be something that's worth our while to look into to see if, again, we can get some extra revenue to the district with some advertising on our buses. Since we own our own bus fleet, we can certainly do that. So I don't know if there was any pushback or if there was any barriers to it or rationale for why we wouldn't be doing it.
It just goes into policy, so there's a separate policy that allows for it for private school advertising, and there's also a way that you can actually look into it from regards to policy to also you can actually even sell space on your website if you wanted to. I think that was the last part we had a conversation about it. I think it actually started coming up in like 2024, and then it went through that way a little bit or that type of thing. So there's opportunities for that. It just has to be regulated because school districts do have to regulate it in a way where we have final say about the type of content that's advertised and so on and so forth, down the line. So that's why it's heavily regulated by policy. Some also do signage on their fields, on signs and things like that. That's also something that can be in terms of that and sponsorship. So it's all something that we can look at. I can actually go back, and I think I can go back and look at information that we had shared. So I think we can, because I know that we did share some stuff, so we can put that back out to everybody. Okay.
Thank you.
All right. Anybody else want to add anything for new business this evening? Just a reminder, our next meeting is actually next Wednesday. We have back-to-back meetings due to the conference at the end of the month, along with not coinciding with the Township Committee. So just a reminder, next Wednesday will be our meeting at 6:30. Okay, if there's no other new business, I'd like to make a motion to move into executive session at this time for confidential legal matters. This will only take about 15 minutes. No action will be taken. So if I could get a motion to move in.
Second.
All right, great.
All in favor?
Yep.
Opposed? Motion
Great.
passed.
Thank you for everybody for attending. Thank you very much.